우리가 이렇게 흔하게 볼 수 있는 풀들 중에 이렇게 먹을 수 있는 거는 어떤 게 있는지 한번 알아보도록 할게요.
And it's good for your vascular system.
자꾸 먹게 돼요. 뭔가 매력이 있어, 먹다 보면. 와우!
Too old to eat. Serving tongs.
안락한 이런 공간이 마련되어 있는데 저는 여기서 물을 모으고 있으니까 내일 꼭 저를 데리고 오세요. 어떤 모험이 기다리고 있을지 완소 LA 기대해주세요. 그럼 이 공원 주변을 한번 걸어볼 텐데요. 우리가 이렇게 흔하게 볼 수 있는 풀들 중에 이렇게 먹을 수 있는 거는 어떤 게 있는지 한번 알아보도록 할게요. So those are like plants that we see all the time around here.
These are very common as weeds. Do you know this one? So
I don't think so.
if you touch up against it, you sting, because this is called stinging nettle. There's acid in the little hollow needles, and it causes a stinging sensation. But if you go to the health food store, it's very expensive to buy this. So I pick it carefully, and we could cook this into a soup. It's a very delicious soup. Now the nettles are high in all sorts of vitamins and minerals, and it's good for your vascular system. You know, your teeth develop plaque, so do your arteries, and this helps keep them clean.
Oh.
But it tastes good. So people like it because it tastes like buttered spinach.
이거 아까 이렇게 만졌는데 여기 이렇게 쏘인 것처럼 벌에 쏘인 것처럼 진짜 아프거든요. 그게 이 안에 산성 성분이 있어서 그렇대요. So it has like medicinal effect for your
It's
body.
medicinal too. Some people say when you get stung like you did, you won't get rheumatitis or arthritis in your hands.
Oh.
And when I have allergies or hay fevers at night, I'll drink a tea from this.
Oh.
So you get the benefits for your vascular system plus for the minor breathing problems. But I just like it. So I'd pick the tops like so.
It doesn't sting you?
Well, maybe a little bit, not
Oh.
much.
Oh my God, mine's like-
I'm used to picking it. Over time, you get used to it.
이게 맛있진 않은데 자꾸 먹게 돼요. 뭔가 매력이 있어요, 먹다 보면.
So let's do some walking. Okay, so check this one out.
Okay.
Look at the yellow flower. And the leaf is very much like an arrowhead. Taste it. This is the one, it's called a hedge mustard, but to me it tastes like wasabi, right? It's like you chew it a little bit, you get that mustard flavor. So this is not where wasabi comes from, but it's a relative of the actual wasabi. You could take this, chop it up, serve it in your dishes.
It does taste like wasabi.
Isn't that delicious?
Yeah.
It's good in salad, good in rice dishes, good in cooked dishes.
이게 약간 머스타드과의 그 풀이라고 하는데 이 씹으면은 정말로 와사비 맛이 나요. 이렇게 약간 톡 쏘는 것 같은 그런 와사비 맛이 씹으면 씹을수록 나는 것 같아요.
So this guy grows on lawns.
Oh, what's that?
That's chickweed. So chickweed is good in salads.
Okay.
You want to taste a little bit. And when we do classes, I show people how to recognize these so they don't eat the wrong thing. Okay, it doesn't taste like much, does it?
No, but
But
it's really soft.
It's soft.
Yeah.
It's like a lettuce type plant. So although you could cook it, I like to put this one in salads.
이거 맛있어요. 이거 약간 되게 부드러우면서 약간 향은 별로 없는데 약간 부드러운 맛이 있어요.
So this will make a wild designer salad.
Oh, I like this one.
So it's all mixed together here. This one is the chickweed. That's the chickweed. There's more chickweed.
그 버섯을 찾으러 한번 가볼게요.
I really don't remember where it is. It's over here somewhere. They're small and they're hard to see.
Oh, they're like this big.
Well, they're
they're
about that big. You see this one right here? Watch your step.
Oh, wow. Oh my
There,
God.
here. There's a couple there. See? So this one is too old to eat. That mushroom.
Wow.
Too old to eat. But
Okay.
it's called an inky cap. So the cap turns to a black ink.
Wow.
And in the old days, people actually wrote. They got an ink for calligraphy or writing letters from this guy.
이게 그 모자 부분 벗기면 이게 안에가 검은색 잉크가 생긴다. 근데 진짜 이렇게 손가락을 해서 보면 잉크 같은 게 이렇게 묻어나죠.
And you can eat it when it's young if you don't drink alcohol.
Oh.
If you drink alcohol and you eat one of these guys, you vomit.
이게 술을 마시고 이 버섯을 먹으면 토한다고 해요. 그럼 저는 평생 못 먹겠네요, 이거는.
So
평생이 버섯은 난 못 먹는 거야.
see, even this one looks young, but
Yeah, that one looks.
when you cut it in half, see, it's got to be solid white. You could eat the
Oh.
stems, but this is already decomposing. When it's young and solid white, then you can eat it.
Got it. So everything has to be white.
It has to be, well, I could eat the stem, but when it turns black, it's decomposing. So it's no longer edible. Oh, look at this. Here's another. See, they're all over. You hardly see them when you're walking through here.
Wow.
Okay, so this guy, that's what you would eat because you cut it in half. See, nice
Yes.
and clean. So this one you could eat with your non-drinking friends.
이거 이렇게 이제 속이 완전히 하얀색이고 그 까만색에 아무것도 없으면 그러면 이 버섯을 먹을 수 있대요. 다만 술을 먹으면 안 된다는 거. 그걸 꼭 기억해 두시고요. So I could
You
totally
could take
eat
it
this.
home, saute it lightly with a little butter, and it's very tasty.
이렇게 그로서리 스토어에서 파는 그 버섯 그 화이트 머쉬룸 있잖아요. 그거랑 비슷한 냄새가 나요.
And this one, the ink,
Uh-huh.
you could use one of these mushrooms and make some ink to write a love letter to that husband you're looking for.
Okay.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Like but the message has to be this short. Because I'm gonna use up
Keep
all
it
the
short and
ink.
sweet, yeah.
Okay. I
So I'm going to teach you how to recognize this one. How's
okay. These ones have like little white flowers.
that? Right, this is still chickweed. Just tell me how many petals you see on the flower. Floral characteristics make a big difference.
6.
There's actually 5.
But
5 petals that look like they're deeply cleft. So it looks like 10, but it's really 5. Now what I want you to do, hold the stem up and turn it. And do you see a line of hairs on the stalk? Okay, that's very characteristic to this plant. So you know you're eating this and not something else. This is found worldwide. So it's only on one side of the stalk. See that line of hairs? And the leaves are opposite.
So we're collecting more of these.
And then there's something else I want you to see.
Oh,
over
there's something
here.
else?
This is a very common weed in people's yards. Does this look familiar to you?
Yes.
Okay, it gets real tall. It's like a dandelion.
Yeah.
So this one is actually not dandelion. It's called sow, like a pig, thistle. Sow thistle in
Sow
English.
thistle?
Sow thistle. They're like sort of like eating lettuce, really.
What? This is good.
Kind of a hint of bitterness, maybe.
It's like a little bitter. Yeah.
Slight bitterness, but not bad, right?
어. 근데 이런 거는 우리 뒷마당에 이거 많이 나 있는 잡초잖아요. 근데 이거 먹으면
And of course, we'll wash all this before we eat it.
잠깐 갑자기 써졌네. It's bitter.
It's too bit spit it out then. By
The
the way,
stems are a little more bitter.
a little more, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you blend it with other foods and you add dressing, it's really good. Notice how when I've been picking, I don't uproot the plant. I'm not pulling anything up.
Right.
If I pick the leaves, it lives longer. It'll extend its growing season, and this is the way people who harvest plants who are viewing this should learn to conserve the plants. Don't uproot them if they're, if you're just eating the leaves.
That's
Let
a
it
good
live
point,
longer,
yeah.
produce oxygen.
그러니까 그 식물 같은 거를 그 추출을 할 때 그 뿌리채로 뽑지 말고 그 반드시 이파리만 따서 이 식물을 보존을 해야 된다는 거 그게 가장 중요한 것 같아요.
This guy, poison hemlock.
와우.
So if somebody eats this guy, they'll be dead in about an hour. Touching it is okay,
Okay.
but this is enough to kill you in about an hour. It's very deadly. It's a European plant, but we have it all over the wet areas in North America now. Very poisonous. So people just don't go out and eat a little of this and a little of that.
Yeah.
You have to study it and make sure you know what you're eating.
아까 전부터 계속 이렇게 바닥에 있는 풀 같은 거를 막 이렇게 먹고 있는데 이거는 정말 독성에 강해서 이거 하나 먹으면 바로 사망한다고 해요. 그러니까
This is what the plant looks like. That's the poison hemlock when it gets mature. That's
Oh
the
my God,
dead
really?
stalk from last year.
this grows into this.
This turns into this.
오케이. 이게 이만큼 이제 자라는 거라고 하는데 그 밖에 나갈 때는 꼭 이렇게 전문가랑 같이 나가거나 아니면 조사를 철저히 하고 나가겠어요. 왜냐면 이런 거 보기에는 전혀 무슨 독성이 있는 풀같이 안 생겼거든요.
And guess what? The stems are hollow, so children sometimes use it as a pea shooter to blow through. And so if you eat this, you die in about an hour.
와우.
The last case of a boy shooting peas through it, he died in 8 hours. He didn't eat it, but he was putting it in his mouth.
Is there like a medicine to?
You die very quickly.
Okay.
So you have
So
to,
you don't have time?
vomit or
Right.
pump the stomach. But
Wow.
usually you die so quickly. This was the plant that in Greek literature, in historical, Greek Socrates was given for a death sentence.
Oh.
You know, the famous Socrates?
Uh-huh.
You learned about it in school.
와우.
Okay, so it was.
소크라테스가 먹고 죽은 풀이라고 해요. 그러니까 굉장히 유명한 그런 독풀이 되겠네요. 만지는 건 괜찮다고 합니다.
Okay, so this area, you'll see
Oh, there it is.
some of the shelters that our students built. If you're stuck in the outdoors with no sleeping bag, no tent or anything, that's the kind of a lean-to thing that you would make.
Oh.
And that's another lean-to. This one is called a body hollow, where you would slide underneath, where you have minimal resources. You
So
should,
this one's all like only fit for one
for
person.
one or two people, maybe a dog too. You know, it's just like a big,
Oh,
it's a
wow.
hole. Let's come around and look at these over here.
Okay.
So let's walk over here. This is the bigger one.
Somebody's been drinking here.
Yeah. However, if you were stuck in the woods and you found this, you might mutter under your breath that there are litterers. But what could you do with this can?
What can you do?
In a survival situation, what do you think? What could you do with this can?
Store water.
Water!
Right.
Because it's all metal, you put this in the fire and you can purify your water.
Right.
You could use it to make fire because it's
Fire.
almost a parabolic mirror. You point it at the sun with some tinder, so you can make a fire. You could cut it open and use it to signal to get rescued by somebody because you're stuck.
Oh.
So this is a survival tool. This is not an old beer can. Why
진짜
don't
뭐
you-
하나하나도 그냥 넘어가는 게 없어요. 다 이제 뭐 서바이벌에 쓸 수 있는 약간 도구로 사용할 수 있는 것 같아요. 여기 보면 엄청 이렇게 안락한 이런 공간이 마련돼 있는데, so this is the shelter that you and your students built.
we just leaned the poles on, so they call this a lean-to. They're basically glorified sleeping bags. Do you make fires inside of a shelter like this? No, because it's all dry stuff. You'd make a fire out here, maybe bring hot rocks and go inside, see how you like
Okay.
it.
제가 이 안으로 한번 들어가 볼게요. 이런 데서 이제 뭐 음식 만들고 불 만들고 이런 거 다 할 수 있고, 이 안에서 이제 잠을 잘 수 있는 건데요. 오,
See, it would fit, this might fit 4 or 5 people, right? You
it's cozy.
you get out of the
here.
rain, right?
Yeah.
And actually it helps keep you cooler in the summer. And this would have to be much thicker of insulation. So if this was freezing cold, we'd
Oh my
we'd stay
God.
warm. And then this, of course, is cold, so you have to put leaves and things on the ground. You don't
Can I
just.
just kind of like come by at night, you know? And just,
We've seen
with-
homeless people who have done that
Oh.
that have used some of our shelters.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, yeah. So if you lose your place, you can come here and you have a place to spend the night.
That's so comforting.
Yeah.
집에서 쫓겨나면 여기서
Air,
하룻밤
it's
정도
air
자도
conditioned
되겠어요.
and running water nearby.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't get too cold, right?
Well, it depends. It might. It might.
How long did it take for you to build all this?
Well, this was built with mostly children, and you could see we used this branch of the tree. But remember, I was telling you about the uses of twine.
Right.
So if you make a tripod shape and you lean things on, and you start from scratch, it might take 2 hours or so.
Oh,
So
To do all this?
this didn't take long. The hard part is putting layers and layers of leaves and brush. Because if you're out here and it's really cold, it could be down to freezing. This is not sufficient. You might have a little fire out here, but you want layers and layers of insulation to keep you warm.
so you basically put like more leaves?
More leaves and
up
branch
here,
and
like
stuff.
dry
yeah.
leaves?
Whatever you can find.
Okay.
Dry leaves, brush, grass, twigs.
Is there like a mechanism to build it, or you just like start piling up?
Just hard work.
Just hard work.
That's the mechanism.
Labor.
Hard work. Labor is the mechanism. Yeah.
이런 거를 like how many people? built this?
Well, there were maybe 15 students, but I would say maybe 6 of us were doing the work.
Oh, okay.
Not everybody was working.
Okay. 6명이서 이거를 짓는데 2시간밖에 안 걸렸대요. 그러니까 그 뭐 보기에 좀 짓기 괜찮을 것 같은 나뭇가지를 가지고 그냥 이렇게 쌓기 시작하는 거예요. 그러면 이렇게 멋진 쉘터가 마련이 된다고 합니다. 야외에서 뭐 텐트나 뭐 잘 데가 없을 때 그냥 이렇게 뚝딱뚝딱 지어서 이렇게 잘 수 있는 거예요. 이거 정말 그 유용한 정보인데요.
Now, since this is the kitchen area, should we make a salad here?
Sure?
Okay. So, do you recognize this plant at all?
No. Well,
You-
we like saw this a lot on
We,
our way.
we walked through this,
Yeah.
but you used this to try to make fire.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So this one is called in English mule fat.
Uh-huh.
Mule fat. So the mule gets fat when he eats it. So,
Okay.
so because it's long and straight, I'm thinking I have a bowl for our salad, but I don't have any serving implements or chopsticks.
That's a chopstick?
So these are your chopsticks, okay? Fresh from nature,
That was simple.
fresh chopsticks.
Oh my god, these are chopsticks.
Okay.
지금 뚝딱뚝딱해서 바로
There's the serving
즉석에서
tongs.
젓가락을 이 나무로 젓가락을 만들었어요.
No, the woods are full of chopsticks. Everybody
Wow.
knows that, right?
That is true. I
Give it a
mean, why
nice
haven't I thought about it?
And then I'm going to rinse off these greens to get the dirt and dust off.
Right.
Since these are wild and they've been grown on their own, there's really no herbicides or pesticides or anything like that. So let's get the water off. That one, the mustard. And we have, what's that called again?
chopweed.
Think of chickens.
chickweed.
Chickweed, there you go.
이게 아까 그 와사비 맛이 나는 그 머스타드 풀이고 이게 chickweed. 아까 전에 그 꽃 주변에 5개 그 이파리가 있다던 그 chickweed고요. 이걸로 이제 샐러드를 한번 만들어 볼게요.
And dressing that I got from a trader.
That's a very good one. 아무래도 맛이 있어야 되니까 이거를 같이 가져왔어요. Oh, so you chop it pretty like small, huh?
Well, everybody does it different.
Okay.
Is this okay with you?
Of
I'm
course.
the chef today,
Oh, okay.
right?
갑자기
when
데이트하는
you make-
것처럼 돼버렸어.
When you make the salad, you do it your way.
Okay.
이렇게 데이트하는 것도 나쁘진 않아요.
이렇게 나와서 데이트하는 것도 나름 좋을 것 같아요. 이 즉석에서 이런 걸 가르쳐주는 클래스를 이분이 운영하시니까 그 뭐 가족들이나 아니면 뭐 연인들끼리 와서 이렇게 해도 굉장히 좋은 경험이 될 것 같아요, 같이.
So here's our serving tongs.
We don't have to wash the
They're clean.
chopsticks. Are they?
Yeah, they're clean. Nobody ate with them.
That's true. It's cleaner than the ones in the restaurant.
And then I'll get some.
이렇게 해서 이제 샐러드가 다 만들어졌고요. 이렇게 해서 먹는 거예요, 그냥.
And we toast to a bright future and a wild future. Right?
Cheers.
Cheers. Tell me what you think when you try a
Okay.
little. You could take all of this
Oh my god.
and stir fry it.
Mhm.
You could take all of this, put it in a miso broth.
Mhm.
So all of these wild greens are very versatile. And because they're so fresh, there's nothing as nutritious as this that you'd ever get in the store.
Wow.
And there's a big earthquake tonight. This is what you're eating. Until you have some food start to
I
take
think
place.
I have some leftover food in my fridge.
Use some of that too. Add some rice to this, couscous,
Right.
whatever.
맛있어요. 이게 보기에는 별로 안 그럴 것 같은데 이 풀 자체가 너무 프레시하기 때문에 그냥 가게에서 샐러드 사 먹는 것보다 그 특이한 맛도 있고 맛있어요.
A little bit more.
It's good. Thank you.
See, all we need is a tomato
Yes.
or avocado now.
그 우리 어머니들 등산 가시다가 쑥 같은 거 보면 막 뜯어오시잖아요. 약간 그런 생각도 나고 그냥 그런 거 미국 버전인 것 같아요. 이렇게 샐러드 만들 수 있는 풀 같은 거 뜯어와서 뜯어먹는 그런.
Now we have to go find some wild berries for dessert.
Oh,
Right.
are there wild berries around here?
We'd have to go look. I don't know.
We have like a lot of leftovers. By
This
the
would
way.
be for your lunch or
Yes.
your dinner. You could take
Okay.
this home
Thank
and
you
you have
so
enough.
much. 이런 거 홀푸드에 가면 이거 팩 하나에 뭐 거의 뭐 10불, 뭐 5불 그 정도는 하는데 이렇게 그냥 그 뜯어서 그냥 샐러드 해서 먹어도 되게 맛있고 좋은 것 같아요. 이 생존을 하려면 이 음식도 중요하지만 사실은 물이 가장 중요하죠. 이 야외에서 물을 구할 수 있는 방법이 아예 없을 때 어떻게 하면 물을 구할 수 있는지 지금부터 설명을 해드리겠습니다. So we're gonna try to get some water.
Correct. Correct. So you know, water is absolutely essential. This is why if you live in the city, you should store water as much as you possibly can. If you didn't do that, there's water in your toilet tank. There's water in the water heater. In the neighborhood, there may be swimming pools,
Right.
which you would have to filter and then you could drink. In the mountains, there's rivers, there's streams, there's springs. if there's a dry riverbed, like we are kind of in a dry plain here, you could dig down maybe 4, 5, 6 feet, maybe more, till you hit water.
Oh.
So if you're really desperate, there are ways to extract water from plants. And it doesn't give you a lot, but you'd have to be desperate and you'd need to have a big plastic bag.
Okay.
So the transpiration bag is a method that involves you capture a bunch of the leaves with a bag, and because trees are always transpiring, that's why it's cooler in the forest.
Right.
They're always giving off water. We're going to capture some of that water in the bag,
Wow.
and you need a big bag, the bigger the better, and then you come back tomorrow, which we're not going to do, but we would probably get a quarter of a cup to a half a cup of water in a few hours off of this guy.
Oh, okay.
So you hold this.
Okay.
I'm going to try to bunch up a bunch of these leaves. Sorry about that. Here. And then we're going to put it over the top without breaking it. And then this gets tied down with my string. So these leaves will continue to give off some vapor. They transpire, and it condenses in the plastic and goes to the bottom. So you know what, if this is not a willow, but some trees you don't want to do this with. If it's a poisonous tree, which there aren't many,
Right.
like oleander, the juice would be toxic. If it's eucalyptus, it's like drinking medicine. But for most of the trees, sycamore, willow, aspen, this is mule fat around water, it'll have a little bit of a flavor, but you will get your life-giving water from the bag. And if it's too loose, you're not going to get the heat that's necessary to trap the transpiration. Now let's just see what this does. We would have to take another cord and secure this down, because if it's like here, the water would just drip down.
Right.
So it has to be like this. So I would get another cord if I'm going to leave it here and secure it so that it stays horizontal. If we're going to keep it like this, you could stay here like that. When we come back tomorrow, we'll have some water down here.
Really?
Yeah.
저는 여기서 물을 모으고 있을 테니까 내일 꼭 저를 데리러 오세요. So you're just gonna leave me here.
Well, no, we're going to take this down. But
Okay.
in a real emergency, this is the configuration, so the water collects down here.
Got it. 되게 이렇게 그렇게 많은 물이 모이는 건 아닌데 한 4-5시간이면 물 한 컵 정도가 나온다고 해요. 그러니까 뭐 물을 아예 뭐 구할 상황이 없을 때 뭐 이런 식으로 하면 좋을 것 같아요.
So folks, you should all have water at home. It's the most important thing to prepare for an earthquake. Water, food that doesn't have to be refrigerated, first aid kit, something that doesn't require electricity like flashlights and radios. You've all heard this. You should have gear at home. And I teach this in my ongoing classes. It's School of Self-Reliance, schoolofself-reliance.com. Look at our website. We have books in all of these subjects. We have classes several times a week. We take out private groups, school groups, church groups. So I'd like to see some of you sometime. So thank you for joining me. 감사합니다.
지금까지 야외에서 서바이벌에 쓰일 수 있는 서바이벌 스킬들을 한번 배워봤는데요. 이 주변에서 흔히 지나치는 이런 풀 한 포기, 이 돌 한 개가 정말 서바이벌에 유용하게 쓰일 수 있는 재료가 된다는 것이 정말 색다르고 재미있는 경험이었어요. 이 크리스토퍼 씨는 서바이벌 스쿨을 또 운영하고 계신다고 하니까요. 이 가족들, 연인들끼리 나와서 한번 경험해 보시는 것도 좋은 경험이 되실 것 같고요. 아니면 그냥 평소에 주변 사물에 좀 더 호기심을 가지게 되는 계기가 되었으면 하는 바람입니다. 지금까지 저는 레나였고요. 저희 완소 LA 다음 주에는 더 재미있고 유익한 정보로 찾아뵙겠습니다.